Hello students, welcome to Power Tutorials. So today we are going to cover part 1 of Science Class 10 CBSE, that is NCERT board, chemical reactions and equations. Okay, so before starting the video, I just want to welcome all my students to the new batch of 2026, like who are going to give their 10th board exams in 2026 year. Okay, so heartily welcome you all. So before starting this, I just want to inform that I already completed first chapter of maths, which is real numbers in parts. You can check my video section, and also if possible try to keep the same link in the description as well. If you want to study about real numbers and want to get the solutions of those real number exercise questions, you can check my videos, and also check my homework. Few questions I have done in the live session. You can check that homework questions, I think around 4 to 5 questions, along with the different methods as well. So those you can check in the live section. Okay, the exercise questions you can find in the long videos. So let's start the part 1 of today's video. Part 1 of chemical reactions and equations. So today's agenda, I just want to cover few things in first video, because this is the first part 1. So in this video I'm going to cover what is a chemical reaction. We're also going to cover what is chemical equation. We're going to cover both word equation and symbol equation. And we're also going to discuss about balancing chemical equation in short. Okay, so this is the first video. I don't want to give a long detail so that you'll get bored. So small videos will do it, and we'll cover within crisp and clear. Okay, so let's understand what is a chemical reaction first of all. So what is chemical reaction? We have two types of reactions. Generally we call it as physical reaction and chemical reaction. So physical reactions are with respect to, I can say, color or physical properties, like from one state to another, like I can say like solid to liquid state. If anything is changing, then we call it as physical state. And all the physical states, changes are reversible. Okay, whereas the chemical reactions are irreversible. And here a note, they can be reversed only under that. Also not everything can be reversed, only few can be reversed, that too by applying more energy. Okay, so few are physical reactions, as I told you. If it any changes in color and any changes of solid to liquid state, one of the example I can see is melting of candle. Melting of candle comes under physical change. Why? Because solid wax is converting into liquid wax. That is called as melting. So this comes under physical reaction, whereas burning of candle comes under chemical reaction. So what's the difference between melting of candle and burning of candle? Melting of candle is solid wax is converting into liquid wax because of some heat. And if you just leave it ahead, what will happen? That liquid wax will again convert back into solid wax. So that's why, as I told, physical changes are mostly reversible. Okay, whereas chemical changes are irreversible. But there are few cases where this can also be reversible, but as I told you, you have to apply more energy. Why it is burning of candle is chemical reaction? Because the liquid wax will react with oxygen, or can also say that vaporizing wax is reacting with oxygen to produce flame. So that is reaction. Okay, whereas in melting of candle, it is a solid wax is converted into liquid wax. This is another best example to say what is physical and what is chemical reaction. Okay, hope you understood. So I will detail few more characteristics to understand whether this is a chemical reaction or not. So this is important question with respect to exam point of view as well. for 2 marks. This type of reaction they will ask you what are the chemical reaction characteristics, or what are the things you have to understand to identify it as a chemical reaction. There we have total 4. First one is change in state. Second, change in color. Third, change in temperature. And fourth is evolution of gas. Okay, so if any reaction, if there is a change in state, it's not like it is a simple statement change in state, because in physical reaction also there is a change in state, but in physical reaction change in state happens and it can also be reversible, whereas in chemical reaction if change in state happens it cannot be reversed. Okay, so smallly they have just stated the change in state, but in depth if you understand what is change in state, in chemical reaction there are cases where the solid, two solids can combine to get into a liquid form, or one solid and liquid if together they can form it as a vaporizing form. So there can be the change in state. Change in color, it is simple, just one color is changing, one color of solution is changing into a different color of solution due to some reactant adding to it. Okay, and changing temperature, it is easy, just if you mix two things and if the temperature is getting increased or decreased, then that is a change in temperature. And the last one is evolution of gas, like if you react some two things and if some gas is getting evolved, then definitely it is an easy understandable that some chemical reaction has been happened due to the evolution of gas. So these 4 points are important to understand whether any chemical reaction happens. So what are the characteristics of chemical reaction? Change in state, change in color, change in temperature, and the last one is evolution of gas. Okay, so we'll also do the same, we'll also understand the same experiments which are given in your NCERT textbook as well. First one is, what they have done is they have heated magnesium. Okay, I will not write the equation because you haven't studied chemical equation yet, so I'll just say in theoretical form that if magnesium ribbon is heated, it forms white color powder, which also call it as magnesium oxide. So how it is done is, we have to take, I'll use different color to make it more interesting. Let's use pink color. Okay. We have to use a burner. Which will have a flame. And to this, if I using a toggle, if I use a magnesium ribbon, so what will happen if we heat these two, due to the flame, the heat, this magnesium ribbon gets heated up and magnesium oxide will be formed, which will be stored on the down. So what I will use a watch glass here. So what will happen means, this will burn and it will fall here. Okay, let me just change the place. Okay, I'll use another color for watch glass. Okay, this is watch glass. So here the magnesium ribbon will be forming, and here I can find white colored powder. Okay, so what is happening? Because of heat, magnesium ribbon, which is solid in state, now it is changing into powdered solid. Okay, so this is, I can say, burner, and this is flame, and this is magnesium ribbon. Okay, so fine. So this is one of the reaction where I can say there is a change in state because of some application of heat. And there is another example in the textbook which they have told the reaction of zinc granules in hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. So what they have done is they have taken a funnel, so into this funnel what I have done is I have kept dilute sulfuric acid, and I have kept zinc granules inside it. This is another color, let's use this one. And I will close this with rubber cork. So why I am closing this? Because if I mix these two, a gas will be evolved. Okay, so to capture this gas, what I'm using is I have closed this with rubber cork and a small pipe I'm keeping it so that which of the gas is getting released has to come out using this pipe. And after the testing, I will not discuss here what test has to perform because that will be covered in later chapters. Just understand that if these two, the dilute sulfuric acid and zinc are reacted, H2 gas will be evolved. Okay, at the same time the temperature increases of this funnel. So two things we already covered. What is done, changing temperature is happening here and evolution gas is also happening. So at least either one is enough to understand that it's a chemical reaction. So in this reaction what is happening, if zinc granules, that is small green zinc elements, are reacting with dilute sulfuric acid, what will happen is the temperature of the funnel will increases and also the H2 gas will be evolved. So this is also one of the reaction to understand that a chemical reaction has been happening. Okay. So these are the basic examples, and in detail we'll cover what are the types of chemical reactions and all in the next coming parts. Okay, and now we'll study about what is chemical equation. Okay, so the reaction we just studied in theoretical form, that if magnesium ribbon is heated, what is getting formed. But to write it in a simple equation, or else simply I can see the simplest way to do to write about, okay, I will add the same statement, simplest way to define a chemical reaction is nothing but chemical equation. Okay, so what is the first reaction? Magnesium plus oxygen are combined to form magnesium oxide. So this is called as word equation, where we have written the entire name of the chemical, and the left side which are present are called as reactants because these are getting combined to form something, and the right side whichever is present are called products. Okay, plus sign indicating that combination, and the arrow mark indicates direction. Okay, so these two, that is two reactants, are getting combined to form a single product. Okay, so then we'll discuss about what is symbol equation. This is the same word equation is using full names, whereas word equation if replaced by symbols. Then it becomes symbol equation. The same reaction I will rewrite it as magnesium, which is Mg, plus oxygen is molecule, which is O2, gives rise to magnesium oxide, which is MgO. Okay, so if you like check what are the amounts of magnesium present in reactant side and number of elements present in magnesium in product side as well as oxygen, let's find it out how it is required. So I'll just write LHS as reactants and RHS as products. I will write what is magnesium. How many LHS, how many magnesium present? 1. Right side also 1. What about oxygen? Left side I have 2 oxygen atoms, so it is 2, whereas right side I have only 1. So if you here, if you notice that left side and right side are not same. If it is not same and there is no coefficients here, we call this equation as skeletal equation. So skeletal equation is equation where it does not has any coefficients and the balancing may or may not be same. But if it is not having any coefficients, then we call it as skeletal equation. Okay, but in the real life, in the real scenarios, what will happen is the masses or the number of atoms present in the left side, that is reactant side, should be equal to the number of elements present in the right hand side. Why? Because any chemical reaction should satisfy conservation of mass. Chemical equation should satisfy conservation of mass. Hence this leads to balancing of chemical equation. So I'm repeating again. So if you notice in the previous equation, that number of atoms present in LHS and number of atoms present in RHS, that is product side, are not equal. But as I mentioned, every chemical reaction should satisfy conservation of mass. So what is conservation of mass? Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. Can neither be created nor destroyed. So whatever the mass is present before the reaction should be same with after the reaction as well. So simply mass of the reactants should be equal to mass of the products. It's the same reaction. I will write it again, which is Mg plus O2 gives rise to MgO. So let's balance it. How to balance means we have to make sure that number of atoms in the left hand side should be equal to number of atoms in right hand side by simply using coefficients at these points. So these are called coefficients where we can use the numbers to balance it. So always go with, it's not like this is the only mandatory option or this is mandatory rule to balance it. You can use either whatever way we want, but the suggestion is always go for metals first, then go for gases. If compounds are also there, then prefer compounds, then metals, then gases. This is the preference, but it's not a rule that you have to follow it. Okay, so I will just write the same preference for balancing. First compounds, then metals, then gases, and if you also say that first gases then metals, it's up to you guys how to want, but I prefer compounds, metals, then we'll go for the gases. Okay, so here there is no compound, simply we have one is metal which is magnesium, one is gas which is oxygen. So first I will balance metal first. So metal, magnesium is already there. Okay, then let's balance oxygen, gas. So here we have two oxygen but we have only one oxygen. Okay, so let's do one thing, let's change the preference to gases and metals, because metals can be easily balanced when compared to gas. So let's change it, gases to metals. Okay, so oxygen, here 2 is there, here only 1, so I'll keep 2 first. So now what it become, oxygen become 2 and magnesium also become 2, but magnesium is only 1 here, so I'll keep 2 here. Now let's cross check, 2 magnesium, 2 oxygen, 2 magnesium and 2 oxygen. You might have a doubt here, 2 is present only to magnesium or oxygen. If any compound like this element is having a number, then this number is applicable for all the elements which are present. Okay, so that's why I can say it is 2 magnesium and 2 oxygen. So this is a balanced chemical equation where number of atoms present in the reactant side is equal to the number of atoms present in the product side. Okay, so we'll cover one more balancing equation and then close for today, and in next part we'll cover more questions on balancing chemical reaction. Okay, I'm going to cover the question which is used in, let's just say the questions present in NCERT. Okay, I'll keep the same photo using snipping tool. So in text questions, so many students neglect it, but I always say to you understand the in-text questions as well, because at least 2 to 3 marks questions can be coming from in-text questions directly. Okay, so in-text questions are very important, you have to cover those. I think there are 3 in-text questions till the part which you have covered. We are going to cover few and the rest I will cover in the live session. Mostly tomorrow, if possible, I'll try to cover that live session. Okay. So these are the questions they have mentioned in text questions. So why should a magnesium ribbon be cleaned before burning in air? So why? Because magnesium, if you keep it outside, magnesium oxide will be formed around it. So it has to be cleaned so that the magnesium oxide which is formed as a coated layer on the magnesium will be removed. So the first answer, if magnesium is kept open, like this, magnesium oxide layer will be formed. So we have to clean it. To remove oxide for reaction. Okay, what is second question? Write the balance equation for the following chemical reactions. Okay, we'll cover only first one as of now, and remaining questions as I told I'll keep the solutions in the live session. Mostly tomorrow at 9 p.m. I will try to keep a live session. So first question we'll solve and close it for today, part 1. Hydrogen plus chlorine giving rise to hydrogen chloride. So second answer, hydrogen plus chlorine giving rise to hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen is H2, it is a molecule. Chlorine is also a molecule which is Cl2. Hydrogen chloride is HCl. So let's check whether atoms of left side and right side are same. Hydrogen, I can say it is 2 here, chlorine is 2. What about hydrogen, chlorine right side? It is 1 and 1. So this is an easy question. So simply by keeping a coefficient of 2 here, I can say it is a balanced chemical equation, because now I can say hydrogen 2, chlorine 2, and this 2 is applicable for both hydrogen and chlorine. So this is a chemical reaction. I mean balanced chemical equation. Okay, so as I mentioned, the remaining questions I will solve in the live session. Mostly tomorrow I will try to solve it. I will keep a live session and explain. So as you watched till this end, I just want, if you like this video, kindly do like and please subscribe so that you will get notifications for your next video as well. Thanks for watching. So we'll meet again in part 2 of the first chapter, which is chemical reactions and equations.